Well, now we got a real American son joining us here on the program. He's a man, not a son anymore, but I guess he still is a son, right? Mike Minogue, a legitimate war hero, very successful businessman, and he's looking for your vote in the Republican, if you're going to the convention as a delegate, and then in the primary in September, and then ultimately in November to be our governor. Mike Minogue joins us now on the program. Good morning, Mike. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Chris. How are you?
Great. How's the campaign trail going for you? You're a first-time candidate. You're an outsider. How's the campaign going, Mike?
Chris, the campaign is going great. Everyone should run for office once. It's a way to serve and give back and meet awesome people. I was in the parade in the Cape this last weekend, and I've got awesome momentum because people want something new. They want a new kind of governor. They want a leader that has common sense and compassion. And I have been doing very well with the delegates. We estimate we've got about 65% of the delegates in our camp. We have more cash on hand than the incumbent Governor Healy, which never happens. We have $8 million cash on hand. And I think that most people are waking up and seeing that we are on the wrong track. There was a stat that came out this morning. We are the worst in the nation at outflow migration. We're at negative 38%. The next highest is California at negative 25%. So we need to get back to the basics. We need to stop seeing each other as political enemies. We need a new kind of candidate that's going to come in and use common sense, reduce the spending, reduce the overtaxing, and get rid of the overregulation.
We're speaking with Mike Minogue. Mike, this is the first time I've spoken to you since I did a poll here a couple of Fridays ago. We were broadcasting, and the result of the poll was overwhelming in your favor. Mike Minogue got 65.8% of the vote. Your closest rival, Mike Keneally, came in at 23.3%, and Brian Shortsleeve came in at 9.6%. And Governor Healy, she did get one vote. She was in at 1.4%. But again, Mike Minogue, according to my audience here in the greater New Bedford area, down Cape and the Islands, you got 65.8% of the vote for governor in my audience.
Well, that's great to hear, and I think it's because your audience has common sense, and they don't want another politician, or worse, the same one, to run the next 4 years. And we need to get rid of the political insiders, right? We need someone who is a business person, who's a combat veteran, who's actually run a company, been a CEO, put manufacturing jobs here, because Massachusetts works for some, but not all. And just one big example is our affordability is continuing to be out of control. You cannot overspend and get your way to prosperity. But also, we need accountability, not just the audit we voted for, but I will audit the entire $63 billion budget. That's what I had done as a public company CEO every 3 months. And when we do the audit of the entire budget, we will shake out billions of dollars in waste and fraud, and we'll be able to give some of that back to the towns and the cities to help them. But we also need to reduce our taxes and the burden. As a governor, right now, if Governor Healy wanted to, she could eliminate a third of your energy bills.
Yes.
Instead of a gimmick, she could get rid of, tomorrow, the utility climate tax, which is about a third. And then long term, she's still campaigning. She's been the governor for 3 years. If she's truly into all above for energy innovation, where and when is the pipeline coming from New York or Pennsylvania? Where and when and what companies are we talking to for modular nuclear energy? Show us the map. You still have this remaining year. Instead of campaigning, you're in charge. Go lower our expenses. Do these things tomorrow and get rid of the sanctuary status, which is attracting even more illegal immigrants and protecting and attracting the criminals. And we're spending over $1 billion a year with free right to shelter and free everything. And it's been $4 billion to date. So we are incurring more debt now than ever in the history of Massachusetts. We have $120 billion in debt. It's growing around 4%, so that's about $5 billion in interest every year. Now add on all the illegal immigrants and all the fraud and waste. And that's how we're going to get back to affordability and accountability.
We have Mike Minogue. He's looking for your vote to be the governor of the Commonwealth. So, Mike, people really are upset. Many people who voted for Maura Healey believe she was the best candidate at the time. They don't feel that she's trustworthy anymore. All the scandals that have come out of her administration. What values did you learn growing up and at West Point? People can trust you with the responsibility you're going to get as governor?
I think that's part of the challenge you have in politics is somehow people believe that in politics you don't have to have honor, integrity, respect for others. In business, you have to have honor and respect. You have to execute, and you motivate people because they want to serve a purpose bigger than themselves. So at Aviamed, we truly put patients first. We innovated. We always put the patients at the obsessed with innovation that would improve their outcomes or make it easier for the physician or lower the cost. That's how you build great enterprises. And in politics, unfortunately, they do think it's okay to lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. And I would live up to the code of conduct at West Point as a politician because I'll be a public servant. I won't care about the next election. I won't care about ever going to D.C. I will only do what is in the best interest of the citizens, of the entrepreneurs, and the businesses. That's what I'll be elected to do. I'll work for the people. And in many ways, that's what I did as a CEO. I focused on my patients, my employees, and that's how you get great success. And that's what the Commonwealth people need and want.
Speak with Mike Minogue. Mike, I know you've been around the state on listening tours. I know you've met with local officials, like guys in Rehoboth, the selectman over there, Rob Johnson, Lenny Mills Jr. You've met with a lot of these people. Tom Hodgson is supporting you. What are you going to do for local governments and allow them to? They feel like they don't have any role anymore in government with the governor we have. She's top down, not bottom up. What's your solutions there, Mike Minogue?
Well, I think when you run a successful organization, you listen to the people levels down that do the work. And so the first thing we need to do is we need to stop overburdening the towns and the cities. So they're not getting a lot of the money back to the towns and cities. That's why we have neighbor against neighbor in these overrides. We've got the MBTA Communities Act, which can bankrupt some of these towns. It's unfunded. It's a regulation that doesn't care what the town's issue is with septic water or infrastructure or schools. So we need to cancel that. And we need to get rid of the net zero. That is going to be just something that will be devastating to the towns and cities. When I can go in and audit and find billions of dollars in waste and fraud, I plan to give some of that savings back to the towns and the cities, with the caveat that I'd like them to reduce the red tape, the permitting process, and all the things that reduce their permitting. And by doing that, we can work together, and they can choose how they develop their towns. They can choose and recruit builders and companies and developers. That's what we need. We need to collaborate with them, not try to shove down more debt and ideology down their throats. And that's currently what's happening. And energy is just one example of it.
We're speaking with Mike Minogue. He's running for governor. He's looking for your vote. So, Mike, you brought up energy. It's a big, I can't tell you the heartbreaking calls I get here, people I talk to in the community. These electric and gas bills are completely out of control. What is your solution? What are you going to do about these gas and electric bills, Mike?
So I'm an engineer, and I invest and built the world's smallest heart pumps. And innovation is what we should invest in. And the great opportunity right now in Massachusetts is we can hit the reset. We can have the best energy grid, the best energy design, safe, reliable, low cost we've ever had, so that people can have lower cost to heat their homes. We can run the hospitals and manufacturing facilities 24/7. So the way you do that is you just take the solutions that are already available. America is blessed with natural gas. We can bring it in from New York and Pennsylvania. Tomorrow, it was approved back years ago when our Attorney General, now Governor, stopped the gas pipelines. So that's number one. Bring those in immediately. Number two, go out and recruit and talk to companies that do energy, and specifically look at companies that do nuclear energy. Some people are concerned with nuclear energy, and we understand that because of the history. However, people don't recognize already today we get 20% of our energy in the state from the Seabrook facilities just across the border in New Hampshire. And with newer technology and newer companies, we need to look at the map of the entire Commonwealth and bring it into towns and cities around the Commonwealth that want it. And if you can do that in the short term, you can have some relief. But the next thing you can do tomorrow as a governor is eliminate the utility climate tax that's about a third of your budget, that has their monthly bill, that has nothing to do with how much energy you are using. So you have the short-term fix, you have the midterm fix, and you have the long-term fix, which ultimately should lead to Made in Massachusetts, the same initials as Mike Minogue. I will be the governor that promotes Made in Massachusetts. We will recruit innovation, high-tech, life sciences, defense, anything that can come here, build up the entire Commonwealth and be all over the state. That helps with everything. That helps lower cost of living. It brings new money in, investment for building. And when you do that, you secure your economy for decades. That's what we have to do. We have to reestablish innovation and opportunity in Massachusetts.
We speak with Mike Minogue. He's running for governor as a Republican. So, Mike, you're going to get to Beacon Hill, and then you're going to be up there with likely a supermajority of other Democrats fighting you all the way. How do you elect more Republicans to the legislature? Is that one of your commitments?
That is, and in the short term, you'll see that I'm one of the biggest donors of the Mass GOP.
Yes.
I'm also currently have more cash on hand than Governor Healy. And what I'm trying to do is recruit and get people that want to serve. The founders did not want career politicians. They wanted people like you and me who've done other things, who've served in the military, to come off the sideline, to come in and help solve problems, and then get back to our lives. We don't want a professional class of politicians that continue just to overspend. They overtax, they overspend, and they basically do not know how to prioritize or run a budget. So when I deal with the legislature as it exists, I'm going to start with just math. I'm going to audit everything. I'm going to find waste and fraud. I'm going to cooperate with our U.S. attorney, who is finding a lot of fraud in the Commonwealth. And I'm also going to cooperate with the state auditor, currently is Diana DiZoglio, so that we can respect the taxpayers and not spend money fictitiously or on programs that are not going to have a return for the benefit of our citizens.
We speak with Mike Minogue. Mike, before I let you go, I want you to enlighten people on the work that you and your wife have done with your foundation charitably to help out people in the Commonwealth and around the world.
So, Chris, we have the Mike and Renee Minogue Foundation, and we feel very blessed that we've had the American dream. My great-grandparents came from Ireland. And what we do is, number one, we help veterans get jobs. So I'm a West Point grad and combat veteran. And when you get out of the military, it can be challenging. So we want to help veterans getting out, get jobs, and continue to have purpose. So it's MedTech vets. It helps people get into life sciences. The last thing we want is for them to come home, not have mentors, not have jobs, and sit around unemployed. That's not a good place for them. So that we focus on getting them jobs. Number two, we do all kinds of causes for kids, for education, for healthcare. And we do this because we know the benefit and blessing that we've had raising our kids here. We know that if you want to break the cycle of poverty, you have to give a kid a good education. And one of the things we worked on was the federal law called the Federal Scholarship Tax Credit, which is now in law, that will allow billions of dollars to stay in the state, that will go to parents and give them choice on where they send their kids. About 80% of the parents that have kids will qualify for these grants, but the one caveat is the governor has to opt in to get this benefit. And you'd say, why would the governor not opt in? Why would she turn away billions of dollars that's going to go to D.C. and we don't keep it? It's because the problem we have today with politicians is they put party politics over the people. I will opt in on day one, and the governor currently could opt in right now. Other governors are opting in. So if she really is going to do it, she would do it now. She wouldn't wait. And if she does do it, I will give her a max donation to her campaign. I'm still going to run against her and win, but I would love to see that both of us agree that the federal scholarship tax credit and giving parents more choice and putting $1 billion plus into the kids, into the parents' choice, and also benefiting the teachers is something we both agree with.
We have Mike Minogue. Mike, you clearly won the poll of my audience with a huge margin. How do people get involved in your campaign? Where is the best way to help you out?
Great. Chris, thanks so much, and you have awesome listeners, so I really appreciate their support. please go to www.minogue, M-I-N-O-G-U-E, F-O-R-M-A.com. So Minogue4MA.com. Plus, you can follow me on everything from Instagram to Twitter to LinkedIn and all the above. So thank you so much for having me today, and thanks for your work.
Thanks, Mike Minogue. Thank you very much. Good luck out there on the campaign trail. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago, then we had the big snowstorm, right? So it was a Friday, then we had the major snowstorm, and everything came to a grinding halt. Well, that Friday, I had done a poll live from Honeydew Donuts, one of Walter Maniza's stores. We did the poll, and Mike Minogue won with 65.8% of the vote. And I got to tell you something, because I talked with Michael Rock afterwards. That was the most calls I had ever moved in a 3-hour shift that day. In other words, this is a big sample of people out there. And I also gave all three campaigns a 1-hour head start, basically. I told them about 8 o'clock in the morning that we were doing it starting at 9 o'clock. And I have good relations with all the campaigns. And some of the people in the other campaigns I've known a long time. So anyway, I'm trying to be as neutral as I can here in the race for the Republican nomination. But Mike Minogue won with 65.8% of the vote. Mike Keneally came in second at 23.3%. This is you guys voting. At 23% for Mike Keneally. Brian Schultze, who I think is a very affable guy, came in a respectable third, but with 9.6% of the vote. There's a lot of campaign left. Certainly, we know that. We're just heading into the convention, but those are the numbers. And I hadn't had a real opportunity to talk about them much, but that's a major, major victory for Mike Minogue.